welcome back to another episode of Minecraft, where today we are going to be doing something super amazing and super different. My very good friend Varnit commented on one of my videos asking me to do a redstone for beginners video, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. I will be going through some of the most simple redstone circuits that you can use to create very complex things. I think this should be fairly interesting, so let's get the video started. The first thing we'll be looking at today is gonna be the basic redstone stuff. Those include the repeaters, redstone dust, comparator, observer, hopper, dropper, the two kinds of pistons and the dispenser. I know I should have put the observer along with the powering blocks, but I thought it deserved the place over there. Now, as I had already mentioned, this is the power blocks, which will emit redstone signal when triggered, or will just emit redstone signal. So the first thing we are gonna be looking at is the lever, then the four kinds of pressure plates, the redstone torch, the two kinds of buttons, the redstone block, and the very good tripwire hook. Now all that is what are the basic redstone stuff. So now let's look at the redstone circuits themselves. Before looking at the circuits, you have to learn about the two kinds of powering. The first kind is known as soft powering, and that is when redstone runs into a block, or okay, let me explain this in a more fashionable way. So when all the blocks that powered redstone is on and runs into, that is this block and all these blocks, are said to be soft powered. Now soft powered blocks you cannot get a redstone signal just like this out of them, but they can indeed trigger redstone basic redstone things, which includes pistons, redstone torches and dispensers, and you can I can prove that by doing this. Yeah, you guys saw that, so that completely works. One more thing is that since repeaters are a basic redstone thing, you can run repeaters out of soft powered blocks and get an output. So I hope you guys understood what soft powering is. The next kind of powering is known as hard powering. This is when a repeater runs into a block. When a repeater runs into a block, it's called hard powering. So this is an example for hard powering. The block which is hard powered will of course power all the basic redstone things, and also you can get redstone signals directly out of them and run it into redstone things. Next thing we'll be looking at is small but important circuits, and in that, clocks. Clocks are something that give a repeated redstone output after a short length of duration. What I mean is, they'll just repeat over and over again. This is an example of a simple clock where two hoppers run into each other with an object inside them. So I know this is causing a clamor, but let me off that. This is a longer hopper clock which has an extended duration. So yeah, you can see that. Yeah, that completely works. The next kind of thing we'll be looking at is the observer clock, where two observers face into each other, and then you run redstone outputs out of both of them. How this works is that when you place an observer, it causes a block update, and when place the second observer, it causes a block update detected by this observer, which sends a redstone pulse, which causes a block update. Sorry, which causes a block update, which powers this, which causes a block update, and yeah, like that. You can control this by using a sticky piston and observer like this. So only when you power this you get the output, and when you unpower this you do not get the output. The next kind of clock is a very slow clock where there are 64 items or even more in the hoppers, and after a long length of duration these guys will move around and you can get repeaters out of them, which means this will stay on for a long time and will stay off for a long time. Now that is enough of very slow redstone clocks. Let's move on to fast ones. like the redstone burnout clock. This is used in quite a few redstone circuits, and it is pretty cool. But that's enough of that. Let's go to an even more faster one, which is known as the comparator clock, and look at the speed of that. Isn't that amazing? The next thing we'll be looking at is pulse extenders. I know I've been going on very quickly about the video. I'll try to slow on myself. Thing is, pulse extenders are very easy to understand, guys. They are just redstone or comparator lines which just extend the length of the redstone thing. So if I press this button, I can prove that to you. And see, if I had put the piston right there, it would have fired off in an instant, but there was a delay. A good thing about pulse extenders is that you can customize it how much ever you want. If you don't want this, you can extend the delay. Nobody cares about how big the delay is. In very big redstone circuits, the delays can be very, very important. This is an example of another one, and I do have one more which I am willing to show to you guys right now on screen. I'm gonna build this guy. So what we've got to do is to build a few blocks like this, and then do this, and then place a block like that, and then if I am correct, do something like that, and then the button. Hopefully I'm doing this correct, because this is one of the things that I wasn't sure about. Okay, so I've technically done it wrong, I guess. Let's look at this. Yeah, I got it correct this time. So basically, this is a super big pulse extender, and you can extend this even more so that you can get varied results. The next thing we'll be looking at is monostable circuits, and these are the opposite of pulse extenders. What monostable circuits do is, suppose there's a constant pulse that is from things like levers which will keep on staying on. They will make sure that only a short pulse is emitted and the whole thing doesn't keep staying on as long as the lever is on. So, okay, that was too quick again. Let me like this. You guys saw that? It reduces the time for that. That was a falling edge monostable circuit. Now this is a hopper dropper monostable circuit, and it is very easy. It's just a dropper, the hopper running into it with a block or an item inside the dropper. The next thing we'll be doing is I'll be showing is a dual edge monostable circuit, which is a monostable circuit which sends two short pulses, one at the beginning of the pulse and one at the ending of the pulse. That is, you saw that there were two. A simpler way is to use the observers. Now that we are in 1.11, actually I'm in the snapshots, but then still it works. The next thing that we'll be seeing is gates. I should have put this in the start, but I thought that this deserves a place in the ending, because those who are familiar with coding are gonna be extremely familiar with this. Now you guys probably don't recognize this, but this is an AND gate. What an AND gate is that you get an output only when both the things are only when both the things are on. Suppose one of them is off, then you do not get an output. Suppose both of them are off, you do not get an output. Only when both are on, you get an output. The next one is an OR gate. The OR gate is a gate where when one or both are powered, they send a signal. Only when nothing is powered, there is no signal. The next thing is a NOT gate, where there is a signal only when it is not powered. The next thing we'll be looking at is T flip-flops. I know I have not been cutting this video, but I think this thing can just have its own, just like that. The thing is, T flip-flops are where, again, those who are familiar with circuitry in real life will be familiar with this. Thing is, once you send a pulse, the circuit will stay on even if it's a button. and once you send the second pulse, the circuit will not stay on. Now this is a simple one with a monostable circuit running into this block, and one thing about sticky pistons is that when they are subjected to a very short pulse, they spit out the block and do not retract the block. In the second pulse, they can retract the block. This is what allows us to do this. So if I press this button, you can see that the piston stays on. This is because it spits out the block here, which is powered by the redstone torch and allows this to happen. If I am pressing this a second time, you can see that off. This is a simpler one with one dropper going into a hopper, facing into this dropper, facing into this. So if I press this once, it stays on. If I press this for the second time, it goes off. This is called an auto dropper system. Those who saw my excuse creating machine, you guys probably know this. What this is that when there are items inside it, it automatically spits it out and makes sure that it's always empty. How this works is by using a simple comparator clock. We don't need to look at that. Next thing we'll be looking at is a double piston extender. I am not focusing on piston extenders much because there are lots and you can get lots using slime blocks, but these are very important in making piston doors and all. So if you look at that, that's a double piston extender for you. Next thing we'll be looking at is randomizers. How this works is that there's a stackable item and a non-stackable item inside, and when the stackable item is sent up, only this gets powered, and when the non-stackable item is sent up, this gets powered, powering the piston. So this is a randomizer and it's completely random as to how it works. Okay, I got scared for a second. And we got that first try. Let's see whether we don't get it. Yeah, we don't get it. Now this is a even more powerful randomizer. Why can't I fly? This is a even more powerful randomizer with two outputs. When there's an output through this piston will extend, making both power for short duration. When this is wait, did I say that right? I don't. But then this allows this to get an output. When we get a stackable item, it allows this to get an output. So let's see which one we get. Of course it works first try. We got that, which is an even more rarer one according to me. Even though it has both same this thing. Yeah, as you can see, it only allows this to get powered and not this. For some reason we are not getting the stackable item, but we can forget that. The next thing we are gonna be looking at is the chicken randomizer, and this is a very old school technique. How this works is that you have a chicken inside this kind of small hole and then a pressure plate. Yeah. When the chicken decides to step on the pressure plate, you get the output. I know, pretty much simple stuff. The next thing is known as the blade circuit. This uses a monostable circuit, a dual edge monostable circuit to use lava or water. Water can be used for super cool showers and lava can be used in animal farms. As you saw, it's there for a short duration. Next thing, this uses the burnout clock, and this is called as an ender station. You guys probably know this. What this does is exactly drop out 16 ender pearls for us. This also works with things like eggs and snowballs, which can stack up to never mind, I'll have these guys. So the next thing we'll be looking at is the double piston extender. What's this called? Piston doors. We've gone across all the simple circuits. Now let's come to the more complicated one. This is the piston door. I'm not going to be doing very complicated designs. As you can see, this is a very simple one with redstone torches on the pressure plate blocks, and then redstone running into repeaters, running into blocks, powering the... Not the most compact, but of course I designed it, so definitely not compact. This one here is the flush with the flush with the wall jeb door. If you guys don't know this, you guys gotta learn this, because this is a very simple circuit which allows you to run to get very secretive entrances, and this is super cool. So one of these has to be the objects which, I mean, blocks which receive power, and what happens is when they receive power, they power these redstone torches, which are at a 2 tick delay with redstone dust like this. And then you got four. Let me retract this; it'll be easier to explain. You got sticky pistons in this L kind of formation with blocks on their faces like this. Let me show you guys that. So something like this, and then you got blocks right in the middle. So when this goes, you can easily power this and get the outputs. Of course, you can run more complex comparator cancelling circuits, which I have not shown in this video, and make this thing lockable from the inside when it is powered from the outside. It's a very complicated thing, that's why I did not show it in this video, because this is more of the simple stuff. Now let's look at a more real life example towards it. This is a small house that I set up, and basically what there is a very simple trick that you guys probably know. So yeah, you guys saw that I broke the painting by mistake. But anyways, what happens is that you got a painting in front of these fence gates which allow you to pass through it. Now fence gates are a bit more what do you say, they're a bit more unsafe, because you can easily just jump through them and you can easily break the painting. That's one downside to this. But trapdoors, they are different. How this guy works is that you have two trapdoors in a kind of formation like this, so that when you, I didn't want that, yeah, when so that you can only pass through the center and not the sides, which makes it even more hard to find this. So we've gotten a lever in that, a hidden lever with which leads into a hidden base with this kind of a thing. I've also gotten a working sofa in case you guys wanted me to see this. But anyways, let me show you guys how to build this. This is super easy to build, of course. All you got to do is to do something like similar to that. And yeah, you got to do something similar to that. You got to place a trapdoor on the top of this and in the bottom of this block. Now what this means is that these guys will not allow you to go through without much effort. So if I am placing a painting on here, you can see that it's completely hidden. The next thing, actually that's all the redstone things finished. What we are going to be looking at next is going to be some of the building tips. Now who all knew, if you guys actually notice this, in my secret lair right there, which is nothing, I have a floating piece of grey concrete powder. How is this possible? Grey concrete powder is a gravity block. Well, string is a block with a hitbox that allows other blocks to be placed on it, which means that you can place sand, gravel, concrete powder, anything on top of this. This could be super useful for a few a few builds, and that will be super cool. And that's the same with the carpet here, so you can create amazing floors and all. This I created out of my creativity. This I would call something like a hyperdrive. Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't know what's a hyperdrive, it's a fictional thing that comes in Star Wars with the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, that thing. So I'd say it's pretty cool build. But yeah, that's a cool tip for you. I know this is a redstone video. I know I have been babbling on for a long time, but I hope you all enjoyed this. And that's all I've got time for, unfortunately. And goodbye.